Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So the stream is probably a bit delayed. So while you are hopefully joining, I want to show you a couple of things. First of all, if you cannot hear me, please write it in the live chat. I will read it. And if the connection is bad, I think there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, so let's start. Maybe you have noticed that sometimes in my back, when I do a moderation, there's this little snowman. And today I wanted to introduce him to you. This is the guy. And it's actually a bottle of Japanese sake. So what you have in here, so this is where you can open it. And this is actually a small cup. So thank you for the 2K. Congrats, Naomi. So can you see me? Yes, you can. So that's the one thing, the small snowman. And the other thing I wanted to show you is, perfect. Thank you, banana step. Well, the other thing I wanted to show you is the things I use for producing my videos and actually the place I work in and do all the editing and stuff. So this is my background. I have a couple of, so this is the tripod I use my main camera on. I have a microphone stand and 2 lights, this and this one. And I hope you can see it. Here in the back is, well, my background you see all the time, except that the little snowman is missing. So that's that. And over here is my gear, which consists of a Canon 700D, EOS 700D, which is, I think, a T5i, T3i, I don't know the American name. And I have like a zoom lens and 1 wide angle lens. For sound, I used for the last video and the modeling career video, a Zoom H4n recorder, which I have new, and I hope it sounds better now. I also recently got a Steadicam for outside shots so that it's not that shaky. A tripod. And some, so this is my very first shotgun microphone, a Techstar, which is very cheap, but for the price, it's a good quality, I guess. So that's that. And I see you're already asking questions. How will it be in Japan for astronomy study? I actually don't know. So I don't know how large, how many astronomy study, so how many universities offer astronomy. So best would be probably to just check it out online and then maybe contact the university to see if you can actually apply from overseas. And then you would have to get a student's visa, and then you can come to Japan. If you want to work, you would need an extra permission. I think you can then work up to 28 hours per week. How did you end up living in Japan? Do you work remotely for a company back home? So my wife is Japanese, and she lived in Germany with me for a year, and then we said initially that we wanted to live in Japan for a year as well. And because I can have a spouse visa, which I do right now, this was easy, and this also allowed me to work as a freelancer remotely for a company in Germany. But actually, right now, I'm speaking to a couple of companies and may be joining a Japanese company in the future, probably in Tokyo, so then I would have to move. Right now, I'm in Nagano. So a couple of you also sent questions on Twitter and on YouTube. So Kevin abroad has asked me, what's your favorite idol band? So in Japan, is this phenomenon that there are heaps of groups just consisting of girls. I think maybe up to 100 girls a group, and they are called idols. And probably AKB48 is the most prominent one, and it's the only one I know, or knew up to 1 week ago. So I would have said this, but then I found a group called KBG84. KBG84, I write it in the chat. And this group is consisting of grannies. So it's very old idols. They, I think, from a town close to Okinawa. And, well, lovely old ladies. Maybe, so I saw a video from 2015, and maybe some of them have passed away until now, but I still liked it. So Naomi asks, is it hard to get a working visa in Japan? I think the hardest, so there are two main barriers. The one is you need a company that is actually willing to employ you and do probably the hard part of the paperwork for you. So you would have to find from overseas a company in Japan that wants to employ you. The second part is the company needs to prove that you are qualified enough, you are that qualified that a Japanese person cannot do the job. And this is usually proven by a 4-year university degree. Or usually around about 10 years experience in the field. So that's that. I don't know if that's hard or not. Probably finding a company is hard if you don't know Japanese. But if you, so there's like this scale, here's, you know Japanese very, very well, and here's you're an expert in your field. And if you know Japanese well, you don't have to be an expert. And if you are an expert, you don't need to know Japanese well. Hi, Martin. So second question I was asked beforehand. What is the most what the fuck thing you have experienced in Japan? So I actually don't think there was that much of a what the fuck in general, because truth being said, Japan isn't that strange. But what really surprised me when I saw it the first time was the TV program. So they do, on their comedy shows, they do sometimes really dangerous pranks, like people falling into holes and stuff, or are being kicked into the ice cold sea, and then they come out, and then they are kicked in again, and so on. And somehow this is okay and seems to be funny, but this really shocked me. In Germany, my home country, this wouldn't work. And another thing is, when I first ate candy or cakes, especially cakes, they really look beautiful and they're well arranged, but they are just not sweet. This was a big surprise for me. Yeah. So next question is, do you love Japan? That's actually difficult for me to, let's have it this way. If it's, so the German concept of love is a little bit different than from the English concept. So I love Japan would be different than the German Ich liebe Japan, or the English I love you may be a bit different from Ich liebe dich, which is the same in German. And so if it's the English thing, I think this would be true. So I really enjoy being in Japan. But if it's the German, which is more like romantic interest related, then I don't think I can apply this to a concept like a country, if this answers your question. Okay, so Naomi writes that she's learning Japanese now and debating what to study work-wise. Good. I think that's a great start if that's what you have in mind. If you're native English, you can also try to become an English teacher once you are done with your studies. That's probably the easiest way. Martin writes he's planning to go to Japan for 1 month in April. What city should I go to? I want to experience most culture, a lot of walking. What do you suggest I go? So this totally depends on what you think, so on your definition of culture. So obviously, when you go to Tokyo, you see a lot of today's Japanese culture. You see a lot of bright lights and busy salarymen and lots of people, and you can definitely walk a lot. But if you think of hiking or maybe more temples and shrines, maybe Kyoto is also very touristy, but you will definitely see a lot of shrines and temples. And there are also nice mountains around Tokyo. So my recommendation would be, if you around Kyoto, my recommendation would be should you go to Kyoto, maybe take 2 days, 1 or 2 days, and go north of Kyoto into the mountains. I went to a place called Ohara, sorry, and this was fantastic. So I was with friends. We had been to Osaka before, and we went to Kyoto, took the bus through the mountains, like maybe 1.5 hours. And then in Ohara, we stayed at this ryokan hotel, so a traditional Japanese inn with an onsen, a hot spring bath. And this was just really good food as well. So you should do this. And yeah, so if you want to go hiking more, maybe Nagano area is good for you, because we have the Japanese Alps here. Nagano city is where I live, and Nagano prefecture is where you should go then. Probably also, if you are in Japan for 1 month, you would maybe maximum, or maybe 5 days in Kyoto, and then maybe some other cities, maybe also Hakone if you want, like onsen, and obviously, of course, Nagano. Thanks for the answers. Can you make videos like John does and only in Japan go? I actually thought about this. I always wanted to show my neighborhood. At least the highlights, like, for example, in this direction, there's a small shrine, which essentially is empty all the time and has a little, is used a bit like a playground, which I think is somewhat interesting. And other things, also the architecture into different styles, like modern and the more old houses, but also like events and stuff. For example, last weekend we had Binsuru here, which is the summer festival, the biggest in Nagano city, where like 10, 20,000 people turn up and dance on the streets. That's definitely nice. But because this is more personal, I'd like to do this like in a smaller environment. Maybe if I one day do a Patreon, this would be a Patreon thing. But I don't know yet. Maybe I will put it on the channel in the future. Maybe one per season, like my neighborhood in summer, in autumn, in winter, and so on. Yeah. So now I will. In Japan, they have very, very fascinatingly small Fanta cans, and I will drink this now. And another question was how to prepare to live with a Japanese host family. So I actually never lived with a host family, but I lived with the family of my wife. First time was like 2 weeks, then 10 days, and then a month again. So what I would definitely try to do is learn basic Japanese speaking. Writing is not so important if you're communicating with the host family. So what I did is I had like a CDs, which is called the Michel Thomas method, and they have 2 sets. One is called Total Japanese, and the second one is Perfect Japanese. In total, that's 12 hours of listening, and maybe 40 hours of study, and will give you some really basic set, which allows you to have some difficult conversations, which I think will be appreciated. And then the next thing is maybe bring a nice present, something local from your home country. What I did the first time is, it was in November, so I bought gingerbread, some Elisenlebkuchen, some specialty from Germany. But so the gesture was nice, but my now parents-in-law actually didn't like it, and I also gave it to my now wife, and she later I found out that she actually doesn't like ginger. So gingerbread was bad. So this taste is orange. This Fanta's taste is orange because it's a question. Here it says orange. But I think the most popular flavor is Udo, which is grape, artificial grape. So one time, the first time I was in Japan in 2009, I really wanted to drink a Fanta and went into a McDonald's and ordered a Fanta because I expected, like it's in Germany, probably not in America, Fanta to be orange taste, orange flavor. But it was not, and I really didn't like grape Fanta, and I have never drunk it again. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? How does Mountain Dew taste like in Japan? I don't know, because I don't remember ever seeing it. Maybe I just don't pay attention. That being said, it's also not very popular in Germany. I drank it maybe 6-7 years ago, quite frequently, but I think this was when we still had Walmart in Germany. This Fanta Orange also tastes a bit different. It's not as sweet, I think, and not as, how do you call it? The soda is not as strong. What's the weather like, asks Adelina. So right now it's quite chilly. I think, let me check, 24 degrees outside right now. Tomorrow it's supposed to be Celsius. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 31 and sunny, which is like the average in July and August. When do you come to Germany? Asked Benjamin. Maybe next year again. So I actually came back from Germany 1 month ago, about a month ago, and it felt really hot and humid here, and it was like entering a hot, steamy bathroom, but all the time, everywhere. It was not easy. Fanta has released a few flavors here in Australia, but none but the grape and or orange have been popular, says Naomi. There you go. So recently popular in Japan has there's a melon flavor now, which seems to be popular. I like it too. It tastes like chemicals, but I like it. Good chemicals. So now I have a question for you regarding the logo of the YouTube channel. So if you know the logo, it's essentially my face with a green cap, a turquoise cap in Tokyo. And on Twitter, I used this logo for now. Now I want to ask you, which one do you think is better? This one or the one which has my face on it and is currently the YouTube channel's icon? Winter in Australia, but 28 degrees next week. That's not a thing here. So in winter it's cold. In Tokyo it may be 0 or maybe up to 10, but in Nagano it's like up to -8, maybe. Lots of snow, especially in the mountains. Are there also Chinese restaurants? Yes, there are. Not as frequently as Japanese, but they exist. Your face preferred over the logo, says Albina. Another question I want to ask you. Where can you meet us, Benjamin? So usually, no, maybe that's difficult. I actually would like to run into one of my viewers one day, but I think for now with 2,200 and something subscribers, that's not yet very likely. I'm learning French. There's any use of in Japan? No, I don't think anyone except French people do speak French in Japan. Same as German. So also there's this thing of there's the chat program, which is Japanese exchange teaching, I think. ALT is the position assistant language teacher, and this concept offers foreigners the possibility to come to Japan and teach here and get us an easy work visa, essentially. And all you need is a bachelor's degree with a 4-year study. And this, most people do it for English-speaking countries because there's so much demand. But this also exists for Germany. But, and it's probably the same with France, there's only one position in the whole Japan, and usually it's like when you go to the website, it says, please check back next year. So that's that. French and German are not very popular in Japan. Now that there are no more questions for now, I have another question. And it is, which of my videos did you enjoy most, and what kind of videos do you want to see in the future? Slipper one, like John does, and only in Japan. Go. I see. I'm actually surprised about the slipper one because it was so unpopular initially. I think it had like 300 views in the first week or so. But I liked it too. And the one about Japanese toilets. I don't like this. I cannot watch this video because it's my very first one. And watching it now, I see all the mistakes I made. And that's why it's really difficult for me. Do some live video. I think it might go well. I might, yeah. If I'm at some kind of event. Love learning about other cultures, says Naomi. Yeah, okay. Any more questions? So Benjamin asks, was is mit der Winkelkatze, which translate to what is with this kind of cat, with a lucky cat. So in Japanese, so in German or maybe in Western culture, we do this gesture if you want somebody to come, but this is aggressive in Japan. So if you want to fight somebody, maybe you do this. But if you want somebody to come to you, you do this. So this gesture of the cat is actually come. And usually it means, depending on the side, it means either customers or money. I don't know which side it means which, but that's the thing about the cat. And do Japanese worry about the American North Korean war threat? To some extent, they do. I mean, there's always a war threat from North Korea, somewhat more than maybe in Europe. But yeah, recently it's like doesn't feel so good. I think, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, Korea always fires into the Japanese Sea, and that's, yeah, I don't like it, and I hope Mr. Trump and Mr. Un will find a solution quite soon. How many Bangladeshi are in Japan? Many or less? I don't know actually, because I have to. So I had to Google it. So it's difficult for me to differentiate maybe Indian looking and Bangladeshi perfectly. So there are quite some Indian looking persons in Japan. Two of them actually worked in Nagano Station a couple of years ago, but I don't know if where they actually where they are actually coming from. Already finished. So any more questions? Well, then if there are no more questions, I would say maybe we can wrap it up for today. So the next Q&A will be maybe at 3,000 or 5,000, I don't know, depends. Good day to you, good sir. Thank you, Ian or Ian. So it depends on how fast I will reach those numbers. Ian says, I look especially handsome today. Thank you very much. I will wear this t-shirt also in my next video, which will probably be out on Monday. But I was just, unfortunately, Ian, I was just wrapping up. So next Q&A will be maybe at 5,000 or 3,000 subscribers. Maybe live, maybe not. But that's why you said it's 69K. I get it. Probably at 69K subscribers or less. And next video on Monday. So yeah, or 6.9K, maybe that. So next video will be on Monday. And I think that's it. So thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, thank you for watching and see you next time.